sexy Dexter fans. Speaking of sexy, I hope you just noticed all of those crazy photos that I just flashed in your face, and that they are brand freaking new from the latest issue of Entertainment Weekly, which I think is co-conspiring with Showtime to destroy our lives. So I thought that I would just, you know, kick things up a notch from the get-go and just let you in on the sexiest photos that you will ever see of the most beautiful people that you will ever witness, and just let us just bask in this crazy experience, okay? Because we have a lot to talk about today. I actually made a Dexter vlog just the other day, and I decided to upload it, but I was really not happy with this. I really want to be able to concisely deliver information to you guys and really give a good analysis of things, and I just had way too many notes, and I just, you know, sometimes you just kind of overthink things, and that's a problem that I have. And then I just backtrack, I start all over, and I just wing it, and things go so much better than they could have originally with all of my planning and thought and just going crazy. So, and as you can see, I decided to dress up for this vlog in my red, you know, my best bloody colors, because I wish that I was as sexy as Michael C. Hall and Jennifer Carpenter. And we are going to talk about those photos from the get-go, and then spoiler alert, because we just have so much to cover, and so much information has been released, and it's truly overwhelming. So first we're going to talk about the sexy Entertainment Weekly photos. Okay, what exactly are they trying to tell us? Are they just trying to mess with our heads, just kind of up the ante? What are they doing? And then we're going to talk very briefly about two behind-the-scenes videos that Showtime released. One about the 8th season of Dexter in general, and then one about the new season 8 character, Dr. Evelyn Vogel. So we're going to talk about that. And then I have a couple other little stories, including the Entertainment Weekly story from which those beautiful pictures came, that has some crazy spoilers that I did not anticipate, and I almost wish that I hadn't read it, but at the same time now I am just so plugged into this season and so unbelievably riveted. So you know, there's kind of like layers of spoiler alerts today. There's, okay, spoiler alert, you know, we're gonna learn some things about some characters, but the Entertainment Weekly story just digs the hell in. So I'm just warning you guys, it's gonna be crazy today. We're gonna go through everything that we possibly can. So for those of you who watched my other vlog and commented, I'm sorry, I ended up taking it down, but back at it, and I'm gonna go as fast as I can, but as in-depth as I can as well, because I love you and I want to do everything I can to give you the news in a way that is entertaining and cathartic for you, whatever you need. So basically, let's talk about these photos, okay? I got some of them pulled up on Tumblr right now, which is where I first discovered them. Here I am just minding my own business and just kind of chilling, getting home from a night of work, and I'm like, well, you know, I might do that thing that humans sometimes do, like go to bed. I don't know, there's like beds and soft things, you put like this stuff over you, it's like fabric, and it makes like a blanket, and you just close your eyes and you don't do anything for a while. It's kind of strange, but I thought I'd try it. And then, as I'm scrolling down my dashboard, I see the two sexiest people in the universe staring at me, being sexy and sensual and ridiculous, and I just, it was just a hold everything moment. I was just ogling for so long, and I mean, I don't have words. I seriously don't have words every time I look at these pictures, you know. We thought that they were really stepping up the game last season with some of their promotional materials, including like, you know, the promotional videos they did where Dexter and Deborah were like in the bed, not at the same time, you know, but they were like kind of juxtaposed, paralleled. Same bed, different times. But there was this sense of sensuality that kind of brought them together. And, you know, the promo photos incorporated them in very close scenarios. You know, like Dexter's looking at the camera head on and Deborah is like right up against him, or like vice versa. So, you know, we thought that they were bringing the relationship to a whole new level visually in those promotional images. And now it's just like, you are just teasing us. Like, it's like they're divorced, okay? And I look at this and I'm like, how? What? You are, no, nah. The chemistry is just unbelievable. Like, I mean, anybody's gotta wish they could have that much chemistry with their freaking ex, okay? Wow, and just trying to break down, you know, what these pictures mean. Do they imply anything for season 8? You know, I think it might be a stretch for us to say, you know, now Dexter and Deborah's romantic relationship is going to happen because these, you know, these pictures are suggesting that there is, you know, it's not a sibling love that they share anymore. That's honestly what these pictures seem to embody to me. And based on the interviews done in the Entertainment Weekly story that we're going to talk about, one of the executive producers of the show, Sarah Colleton, you know, she's constantly talking about how Dexter is a love story and how, you know, some of the greatest loves are the unrequited ones. And looking at the Dexter and Deborah relationship, and she's constantly reaffirming that this relationship is going to be explored in as many different directions as possible, and that all the characters are going to be fleshed out in the extreme, etc., etc. And so when I see these photos, I can't help but think, you know, they're going to give us just the ride of our lives with this story, and they are going to be bold and fearless as these photos are in and of themselves. I mean, we have Jennifer Carpenter, and she is posed freaking nude under the kill suit apron, you know, with the sleeves, and she's got like the knife pressed to her own chin, and it's so deeply symbolic of who Deborah is now. They're really pushing Deborah as killer, which I was honestly not expecting. You know, I was anticipating to see Deborah as victim because of what we've seen so far from like the trailer, and how Deborah is like, she's strung out on drugs, she's sleeping with this guy that she's investigating, you know, they're drinking, doing drugs together, she has abandoned all of her ambitions, and she is just in this dark place, and she is only looking to go deeper. And so here we see a very powerful, potent, seductive Deborah that I really wasn't anticipating, you know, seeing in any of the promotional materials, because we see the breakdown of her throughout the series. We see that she is a broken person, but here there is a sense of newfound power, which I think is really crazy. I gotta go let my cat out again. Alright. Anyways, so where was I? Okay, so there's a sense of newfound power, and that is what is driving me absolutely bananas. Furthermore, as a straight female woman, I see Jennifer Carpenter and I'm like, I would hit that. I mean, how much gorgeousness can be contained in one human being? I don't know. I feel like I'm looking at an angel. She is just gorgeous beyond belief here. You know, we see the picture of Michael and Deborah. You know, Deborah's got her gun and Michael's got his knife. You know, it's like it is unifying them as killers. The relationship is fundamentally changed. And in the picture where they are literally clinging on to each other, you know, Dexter has his hands like, you know, sensually kind of, or well, Michael, I guess, I don't know. Michael / Dexter has his hand kind of sensually draped about her neck. It's almost like, you know, with a little bit of a clench, and he could be choking her. but then at the same time, you know, she has her hand on his hand, like she's, you know, she's allowing him to be in that position. She's affirming his hold on her. So, you know, at the based on what we've seen in the trailers and things so far, there's this sense, you know, that Deborah is going to be running away from Dexter. But here in these photos, you know, we see that there is this sort of toxic beauty about where they're at now. Now Deborah's journey is converging with Dexter's in a way that it never has before. Dexter's coming to a place where he has to fight for Deborah. And, you know, it's not so much about claiming his territory as it is protecting the one tie he has to his humanness, to that person that embodies all the good there is in the world to him. And it's just crazy. I mean, these photos are just pregnant with meaning, okay? And yet at the same time, you know, it's hard to say what exactly the purpose is with having them in these really almost sexually charged positions. And, you know, maybe they're just trying to get us all hot and bothered, and well, mission accomplished, okay? I seriously, I just want to get these pictures on t-shirts. I want pillowcases, I want canvas prints on my wall, my doors, and it's just like, I just want these in my life a lot. I can't fathom. I'll make a calendar. I don't even know. It's crazy. So what do you guys think of these pictures, and do you think that they have any kind of implication for what the relationship between Dexter and Deborah is going to look like? Just let me know what you guys think. Oh, and also, there are a bunch of new promotional photos that have been released for the first 4 episodes of season 8. So there's a link in the description that you guys can access to look at those. I was gonna put them in the video, but I don't want to take too much time because, again, this is already gonna be really long. So by all means, go check that out. Everything, you know, all the information that I get, I'm in tune with DexterDaily.com. So follow them on Twitter, follow their website, Facebook page, because you will get the scoop every single day. All the things that I miss and don't get to talk to you guys about every single day. I want you to be as on top of the news as I try to be. So by all means, follow them, and on the days, you know, when I don't get the chance to make a vlog and things, you can check that out. And then you can always tweet me, Facebook me, or hit me up on Tumblr to talk Dexter things when I'm not making my Dexter vlogs. So just so you know. Yeah, so there's a bunch of those new promotional photos that we see, a lot of interesting things to discuss there. We get a little bit of insight into where Deborah is at, and the name of her target, who she's going after through the PI guy, who is played by Sean Patrick Flannery. So the guy that she's going after, the character's name is Andrew Briggs, I believe, and that's Rise Corio's character. So we see some pictures where she is at his house, you know, they're flopped out on the bed and just doing their thing. You know, it's hard to say just how invested Deborah is, but she's doing anything she possibly can to get out of her own head. And we see some photos of, you know, the Miami Metro crew, and I think that they're at an event dedicating a special bench to Maria LaGuardia as a sort of memorial to her. And so, you know, we see Quinn and we see Batista, who's now becoming the lieutenant after, you know, he thought that he was going to retire. Not so much. He's back in the game. He's dealing with things in a whole new way. Yeah, so Quinn and Batista and Masuka. So we get a little peek at them. There's a really interesting photo of Harry. And it looks like it could potentially be from a flashback because we see him looking relatively young and he's in his police uniform. So it could be a flashback. It could be Dexter, you know, visualizing him in his head in an interesting way. But I would like to think that it might actually potentially be a vision of Deborah's, okay? Because Deborah is in a place where, you know, like I mentioned before, her dream, her ambition, her life's goal and direction, you know, to be the long arm of the law, to uphold justice in society, you know, all these these lofty, glorious ambitions that are embodied in her police career, they've all been just completely shot down. She knocked down all the dominoes, she has stepped out, and she is in her own world where she is volatile, and where, you know, the blue blood has been bled out from her veins, and there's an entirely new substance that is driving her through all this craziness she's enduring. And so I would not be surprised if she herself begins to see Harry in her mind, you know, because the whole reason she went into the police force was for Harry, was to find him, because he was so connected to Dexter and trying to teach him the code and to completely form this individual in such a way as to not wreck society and hurt people and hurt the people that he loves or longs to love, because he believes he can't feel. All that stuff. So I think it'd be really cool if Deborah had a Harry vision this season, at least one. And I know that there's probably going to be some crazy dreams and things as well. I always love the dream scenes, so there's that. And yeah, we get a little peek at Sean Patrick Flannery, who's the personal investigator that Deborah's working with now. So in some sense, you know, she's sort of still in the justice game, but she's doing it on her own terms and away from the place that reminds her of the compromises that she has made, and with what she did to LaGuardia, you know, she needs to be elsewhere. At the same time, she's kind of a hot mess. And from what we understand, you know, when Dexter finds her at that supermarket and confronts her, you know, for the first time after the 6 months between what happened and now, or at least where the story's gonna pick up, you know, even Sean Patrick Flannery's character, the investigator, doesn't know where she is. So, you know, she's completely falling out in a whole new level, and it's just wild. Yeah, so we kind of see a little bit of everybody, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. So check out those photos in the link below and let me know what you think. We can definitely talk more in the comments. And now, so the behind the scenes videos that Showtime released. And I've got the annotations for you and links in the description as well in case you haven't seen those yet. And so I've basically, you know, in what I've already been discussing with you guys, I've kind of covered a lot of what is explored in those videos. And we get to have, you know, kind of little teases of nostalgic footage, you know, the things that made us fall in love with the show in the first place. You know, they're kind of trying to rekindle the original infatuation that we had, you know, as we're getting ready to bid this show adieu. So yeah, so we see some kind of nostalgic footage. The actors are talking about their experience with Dexter and just how sad they are to see it go. And yeah, so we know that things are picking up a while after the events of the season 7 finale, and we know that Deborah is on the run. She's in a place where she doesn't care what happens to her. She's just kind of, you know, she's watching the sand run out. She is ready for her life to just end when it's gonna end. She has no concern for herself, for Dexter, because she feels that he has ruined her and he has brought her down to his level, except almost even worse, because she intentionally killed an innocent figure, someone who embodied so much to her. And so we know that Deborah is going to be in a bad place. She is on the run from the one person whom she has admired and loved and clung to since the beginning. So we know just how torturous that's gonna be, and we know just how compromised she is, and that now in some sense she is a killer. So what does that mean for her future? Is she, you know, what is that gonna look like as she encounters people who threaten her? Or, you know, what constitutes someone who is a threat? You know, what's gonna stop her from knocking out anyone for any reason? Now, granted, we know the character of Deborah and her passion and her loyalty and those things that that endure in her. So it's gonna be crazy to watch her, you know, trying to be anything but who she's been, because that's been so tied to Dexter, and the reality of who he is now has tainted that for her. And we just gotta hope and pray, you know, have some candlelit prayer services as we seek the redemption of these two, and to see them come back together. And it's crazy because at the same time as this whole dynamic between Dexter and Deborah at stake, we see a character such as Dr. Evelyn Vogel coming in. She is a professional about the psychopathic brain. She is very well versed in this field. She comes to Miami Metro to help them out with a new case. And Dexter, you know, really picks up on the sense that she is extremely interested in him. And she ends up, this is actually in the first episode of season 8, apparently. She gives him a little package of pictures that Dexter drew from his childhood. And so, you know, the red alert is going off in Dexter's head. You know, somebody's onto him in some way, because these pictures depict very violent events. And so he feels extremely sensitive. You know, he's looking into her just like he would any other killer. And I think Charlotte Rampling, who plays Dr. Vogel, has a lot of interesting things to say about her as well. So you guys better check out that video and let me know what you think. Do you think that she is going to, you know, be a sort of big bad character? Is she a killer herself deep down? Why is she so interested in Dexter? Like, asking him, you know, what was the Bay Harbor Butcher like? And, you know, talking about how much she's looking forward to working with him and giving him these pictures. And there is a sense that he is known by her, that he is vulnerable and in her sights. But why? And actually there has been some insight that has been shed into that in the Entertainment Weekly story, so I'll talk about that shortly, but let me know what you guys think about that. Another interesting thing is the developing relationship between Dexter and Harrison, because Harrison is growing the hell up. You know, he is communicating now, he is learning, he is seeing, and his father now is in a place that he has never been in before. For the longest time, you know, Harrison was kind of a place of escapism and you know, whatever's left of his innocence, and Dexter's put so much into him in that. And now that his son is growing, you know, it's that sense of legacy, as Michael C. Hall said, that is really going to become huge in their relationship, as well as in Dexter's relationship with Deborah. So there's a lot to think about and process, and I'm just spinning my hair around my head. So, alright, so we have kind of briefly skimmed over the behind the scenes videos. Do let me know what you thought of those, what you're looking forward to the most, and anticipations you have. So now we are diving deeper into the spoiler zone, okay? And this is me warning you, because it's gonna get a little bit crazy up in here. So I have open some scans from the Entertainment Weekly story, and I'm going to read you some excerpts from this, and brace yourself, because there are some huge revelations about the season. You know, the information is kind of front heavy, but I'm just warning you, it is crazy. And I literally cried last night reading this, so I don't know what's gonna happen now. We'll see. Maybe I got that out of my system. It's only gonna get back into it at some point though. So, the title of the story is Dexter is Going to Die. Is that not rude? Okay? Like, why? Why? Okay, so let's get into it. So, the vigilante serial killer's car has flown off a road and splash landed in a murky lake. He's slumped unconscious against his seatbelt. The car sinks, the waters close over his head. The vehicle slowly descends into darkness. Now this is describing the car accident scene that we saw some set photos of for the 4th episode of this season. Okay? They are literally describing this scene. It's like, I I can't even fathom. And then they continue a few paragraphs later. But then, hands appear, pulling Dexter from the car back up to the surface. His sister, Deborah, drags his body to the shore and presses her mouth to his, breathing life back into him. It's odd that she rescues him because she's the one who tried to kill him in the first place. It's like she's saving a part of herself, explains Jennifer Carpenter. Her family would die with Dexter. At her core, she still needs him. So the first time I read this story, I completely missed that line about Deborah trying to kill him. Like, what? How? I was in tears when I reread that line, just because, you know, I knew that was going to be an intense and traumatic scene, but the fact, you know, it had never crossed my mind that Deborah might go that far, because you would have thought that she already would have last season if she was going to. And I don't even know what to think, you know, because I knew that the scene was going to be a healing moment for them, but now it becomes that much more significant knowing what they have to heal from and where Deborah's been. It is just insane. And so this story, it gives such an in-depth look at the Dexter and Deborah relationship, as well as at Michael and Jennifer's real life relationship as well. It's so crazy. I'm looking through here to see if there's more, and of course it's interspersed with all the super sexual, beautiful pictures. And so they say the premiere picks up 6 months after the finale, when Deborah, an ultra-ethical police lieutenant, made the soul-shattering decision to kill her captain, Maria LaGuerta, to protect her serial-killing brother. And Deborah, who goes to even darker places this year, has quit Miami Metro and works for a private eye while spurning Dexter's attempts to rekindle their relationship. Enter Dr. Evelyn Vogel, Charlotte Rampling, a psychiatrist with a secret. Decades ago, she helped Dexter's father write the code that he's used to manage his psychotic impulses. That is, he can only slay people who are proven murderers. Now she's being stalked by a mysterious killer and wants Dexter's help. Dexter is a bit of a guinea pig, Rampling says. He's possibly one of her success stories if you think the code is acceptable. So now we know what exactly Dr. Vogel is doing here in the first place. She helped Harry make the code. You know, he probably sought someone out in confidence, or, you know, was trying to ask questions of some psychiatrist as he's approaching Dexter on his own. She gets curious, you know, kind of gets her hands wet in the situation, and then she disappears. And as far as we knew, it was Harry's code and Harry's alone. And so a lot of people say that, you know, Harry is like the big villain of this series for that reason, that he made Dexter into a killer. And yet, really, Dr. Vogel is kind of, you know, was right alongside him as this whole process began. And it's going to be crazy for Dexter to have someone of that caliber in his life. And is he going to help her out? You know, what exactly is their relationship going to look like? Personally, I think it's a really stunning move, and I'm super glad that they're doing that this season, that they're bringing someone in of that nature. And then in the story, also talks about Hannah McKay's return, poisonous, yada yada yada, love and revenge and sex and things, you know. I guess, you know, Hannah McKay is going to return to create even more turmoil, and I'm thinking to myself, how can you do more than what you've already done, my dear? But apparently she's going to do even more. So, good job, Dexter. Yeah, you could have taken her out long ago, but she is going to be back in some crazy extent, probably around halfway through the season. And we'll see where Dexter and Deborah are at that point by then. By all means, guys, check out the rest of the story. Link is in the description. Everything you could possibly need and more is down there. And yeah, just the story wraps up so beautifully, looking at the relationship between Michael C. Hall and Jennifer Carpenter, and as they, you know, their differences in approach, getting into their roles, like how Michael is very cool and calculating, and looking at the end of the show, he kind of, you know, thinks through all the possible reactions he might have in the future, kind of quantifies them, like he's looking through different options on an emotional menu. Whereas for Jennifer, you know, she burns hot and she gets in deep with Deborah, and it can be very dark for her. And Michael kind of finds a lightness to some of those scenes. Like there's supposed to be a dream sequence that comes up where Deborah fantasizes about, you know, going back to that place in the cargo container where she killed LaGuerta, and instead she dreams of killing Dexter, and how that scene for Dexter is kind of, you know, he has a fun and lighthearted kind of look at it, like, oh, you got me. But then for Jennifer, it's a dark place to be. And so I love that the actors coincide with their characters, and then the story wraps up, you know, looking back at that scene that we're going to see in the 4th episode of the 8th season, and how they both pull each other under the water, and, you know, how it's symbolic of like the show ending and just all this crazy stuff. It's a very well done story, very intriguing stuff. God, I don't freaking know. So check it out. I'm gonna leave it there because this has gone on long enough. Y'all are sick of me, I know it. I love you guys so much. I'm gonna keep you posted. More vlogs and things are gonna be on the way, and 24 freaking days, my friends, which is 7 times, that's 8 times 3 is 24. I do math. So I'm gonna go eat some ice cream and look at sexy pictures of Michael and Jennifer. So I don't know what you're gonna do with your night, but that's what I'm doing with mine. So thank you guys for tuning in. More Dexter news is coming. Share all your thoughts. We will hash it out. And I will see you guys in a very short while. Take care, y'all.